Namaste students, welcome back to my channel. Students, in this video we'll introduce a new family of the P block, that is the aerogen family. Now which family is known as aerogen family? The very well known family that we known by the name noble gases. So the noble gases are known as aerogens. So why these are known as aerogens? What are the different physical properties and the chemical properties of the aerogens that we'll discuss in this video. So without any delay, let's get started. Members of aerogen family or the members of noble gases are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. Xenon and radon. Except radon, all these gases are present in the atmosphere in very small quantity. And because these gases form the composition of the atmosphere, therefore these gases are known as aerogens. So why these gases are known as aerogens? Because except radon, these gases are present in the atmosphere. Though their quantity is very less, they are present in very rare amount. Therefore, these are also known as rare gases. So why these are known as aerogens or rare gases? Because they form a composition of the air, though the amount is very less. That's why they are known as aerogens or the rare gases. Now, initially when these gases were discovered, these gases were termed as inert gases. Initially, these were termed as inert gases because of their fully filled stable configuration. It was observed that they don't form any compound because of fully filled stable configuration. Therefore, they are termed as inert gases. But after 1962, they were termed as noble gases. Because the xenon and the krypton, we get the compounds of the xenon and the krypton after 1962. So before 1962, they were termed as inert gases because they are chemically unreactive at ordinary temperature, and before 62, it was considered that we don't get any compound of the noble gases elements. But after 1962, we get compounds of xenon and krypton. Therefore, instead of inert gases, they were termed as noble gases. Now, the helium. If we talk about the helium is the second most abundant element. It is the second most abundant element of the universe. But its terrestrial abundance is very less. Clear? Helium is the second most abundant element of the universe, but its terrestrial abundance is very less. And helium is also present in the natural gas. To an extent of 2 to 7%. So helium, which is the first noble gas of this family, helium is the second most abundant element of the universe, though its terrestrial abundance is very less, and it is also present in the noble gases to an extent of 2 to 7%. Whereas helium, neon, argon, these are present in the radioactive elements, though they are present in very traces amount, but they are present in the radioactive elements. Now, if we want to isolate helium, how we can isolate the noble gases? how we can isolate the noble gases. So the principal source of helium, the principal source of helium is natural gas. The principal source of helium is natural gas, means from natural gas we can isolate helium, we can prepare helium. Now if we compress natural gas, if we compress natural gas at 100 atm, 100 atm, if we compress natural gas at 100 atm or 75 Kelvin, 100 atm and 75 Kelvin, then all the constituent particles which are present in the natural gas, they get liquefied, means all other gases get liquefied but helium does not liquefy, as a result of which we can isolate helium from the other gases which are present in the natural gas. So with the help of the natural gas we can separate helium, we can manufacture helium, we can isolate helium. How? By compressing the natural gas at 100 atm and 75 Kelvin. At this condition all other gases get liquefied but the helium doesn't liquefy, as a result of which we can isolate helium. Now if I talk about neon, argon, krypton and xenon, these are isolates, these are isolates from the air. These are isolates from the air with the help of fractional distillation. With the help of fractional distillation. In our junior classes, we have studied that by doing the fractional distillation of air, we get O2, N2 and different noble gases. This we have studied in our junior classes, that by fractional distillation of the air, we get O2, N2 and different noble gases. After this, we can separate the noble gases with the help of activated coconut charcoal. With the help of activated coconut charcoal. This activated coconut charcoal absorb different noble gases at different temperature. So what did this activated coconut charcoal did? This absorb different noble gases at different temperature. Different noble gases at different temperature. So by fractional distillation of air, first we will separate O2, N2 and noble gases. Then by absorbing noble gases over activated coconut charcoal, we separate the different noble gases, because this charcoal absorbs noble gases at different temperature. And if I talk about radon, radon is the decay product of the radium. We get radon from the decay product of radium. Decay product of radium. When radium release helium, a helium particle, then we get radon. So radon is obtained by the decay product of the radium. So with the help of these process, we can isolate the different noble gases naturally. So these are the natural gases. These are termed as aerogens because these are present in the air. These are the constituent part of the air, though the amount is very less. Therefore, these are also known as rare gases. Before 1962, these are known as inert gases, because before 92 it was a thinking that their compounds are not present because of their fully filled stable configuration. But after 1962, scientists discovered their compounds. Therefore, instead of inert gases, they were termed as noble gases. Helium is the second most abundant element of the universe, though its terrestrial abundance is very less, but it is the second most abundant element, and its principal source is a natural gas in which it occurs to an extent of 2 to 7%. We can isolate helium from the natural gas by compressing the gas at 100 atm and 75 Kelvin, where all other gases get liquefied but helium doesn't get liquefied. Neon, argon, krypton and xenon we can prepare from the fractional distillation of the air By fractional distillation, first we will separate O2, N2 and other gases, and other halogen gases are separated with the help of the activated coconut charcoal. And the radon is obtained as a decay product of the radium. Now, if I write the electronic configuration of the helium, electronic configuration of helium is 1s2, neon is helium 2s2, 2p6, argon is neon 3s2, 3p6, krypton is argon 3d10, 4s2, 4p6. Then argon is done, xenon is krypton 4d10, 5s2, 5p6, and the radon is xenon 4f14, 5d10, 6s2, 6p6. So easily we can write the electronic configuration of these noble gases. Now we'll study the physical properties of these halogens. The various physical properties of the halogens or the noble gases are: first, monoatomic nature. So the noble gases, all the noble gases are monoatomic, colorless and odorless. All the noble gases are monoatomic in nature, colorless and odorless. Now, the monoatomic nature of the noble gases, is due to the fully filled electronic configuration of the noble gases. Due to fully filled electronic configuration, they will not combine with any other atom. Therefore, they are monoatomic in nature. And their monoatomic nature is also supported by the two factors. First one, the Cp/Cv ratio, that is equals to 1.67. So Cp/Cv ratio, that is equals to 1.67, supported that these are monoatomic in nature. And second, the 22.4 liter of these gases at NTP weigh exactly equal to the atomic weight of each gas. So at normal temperature and pressure also, 22.4 liter of these gases weigh exactly the same as they have atomic weight, exactly equal to their atomic weight. So these two factors supports the monoatomic nature of the noble gases. So these are monoatomic in nature, colorless and odorless. Next physical property is atomic radii. Now, in our 11th class, we have studied that as we move left to right in a period, what happened? Atomic radii decreases due to the increased nuclear force of attraction. But we have studied that atomic radii are of three types: covalent radii, van der Waals radii and metallic radii. And in noble gases, we considered van der Waals radii because the noble gases are monoatomic in nature. That's why they don't form covalent bond. As a result of which, in noble gases, we considered atomic radii as a van der Waals radii, and by definition, van der Waals radii is greater than that of the covalent radii. Therefore, the atomic radii of the noble gases are the largest among their periods. So the atomic radii of the noble gases are largest in their periods. And as we move down the group from helium to radon, then atomic radii increases due to the increase in the number of the shells. So, because of the van der Waals radii, the atomic radii of the noble gases are largest in their respective period, And as we move from helium to radon, atomic radii increases due to the increase in the number of the shells. Now, third property is ionization enthalpy. Third property is ionization enthalpy. We have studied the electronic configuration of the noble gases, and in the electronic configuration we have studied that the outermost valence orbital is fully filled. In noble gases, the outermost valence orbital is fully filled, and due to fully filled valence orbital, they do not release electron easily. Because of this, they have very high ionization enthalpy. So they have very high ionization enthalpy in their respective period, and as we move from helium to radon, then what happens? Size increases. Due to the increase in the size, ionization enthalpy decreases from helium to radon. Ionization enthalpy decreases from helium to radon. Now, next, fourth, we'll talk about electron gain enthalpy. Now, because of the fully filled electronic configuration, they do not gain electron also. So, we have to supply energy so that they can gain electron, as a result of which the electron gain enthalpy of these gases positive. These gases have positive electron gain enthalpy because they require energy to accept the electron. We have to supply energy to accept the electron. So that's why they have positive electron gain enthalpy. But the first member, that is the helium, because of very small size, it has the maximum tendency to accept the electron. That's why its electron gain enthalpy is least negative. And as we move down the group, what happens? Size increases. Due to the increase in the size, tendency to gain electron also decreases. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy also decreases. But in noble gases, the value of the electron gain enthalpy comes in positive. This keep in your mind that in noble gases, the value of electron gain enthalpy comes in positive, and the least positive value is of the helium, whereas the most positive value is of the neon. So the sequence is neon, then argon, and argon and krypton have same electron gain enthalpy. Xenon, radon, and the least positive is of the helium. So this is the order of the electron gain enthalpy. Most positive neon and the least positive helium. Now next we will talk about the melting and boiling point. We'll talk about the melting and boiling point. Now the melting and boiling point of the noble gases are very low due to weak van der Waals force of attraction. Low due to weak van der Waals force of attraction. But as we move down the group, what happened? Size increases. Due to the increase in the size, van der Waals force of attraction increases, and due to the increase in the van der Waals force of attraction, melting point and boiling point also increases. So they have very low melting and boiling point because they are held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction, but the melting and boiling point increases from helium to radon. From helium to radon. Next, ease of liquefaction. Sixth is ease of liquefaction. Ease of liquefaction means how easily we can liquefy a gas. How easily we can liquefy a gas. Now, how easily we can liquefy a gas, it depends upon the force of attraction between the molecules of the gas. If the force of attraction between the molecules of gas is strong, then we can easily liquefy the gas. But if the force of attraction between the gases is not so much strong, then it becomes difficult for us to liquefy that gas. Now, in noble gases, the gases are held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction. And because of weak van der Waals force of attraction, it becomes difficult for us to liquefy the gas. So the ease of liquefaction is very difficult in the noble gases because they are held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction, but the ease of liquefaction increases as we move from helium to radon because the van der Waals force of attraction, the strength of the van der Waals force of attraction increases from helium to radon. Therefore, ease of liquefaction increases from helium to radon. From helium to radon. What is ease of liquefaction? Ease of liquefaction is the actually condition where we can liquefy a gas. Means if the gas molecules are held together by strong van der Waals, strong force of attraction, then they can easily liquefy in the liquid. But if they are held together by weak attractions, then it is difficult for us to liquefy the gas, and these are held together by weak van der Waals force of attraction. Therefore, it becomes difficult for us to liquefy these gases, and down the group, ease of liquefaction increases due to the increase in the magnitude of van der Waals force of attraction. Seventh is solubility of water. Solubility in water. Now, these are slightly soluble in water. The noble gases are slightly soluble in water. Slightly soluble in water. Now, the reason of the slightly solubility of these gases in water is dipole-induced dipole interaction. Dipole-induced dipole interaction. Now, we know that water is a polar molecule. As soon as water reaches the noble gases, reach the atom of the noble gases, it causes the polarization. It causes the polarization. As a result of which a dipole is induced in the noble gases, and there occur a dipole-induced dipole interaction, as a result of which noble gases are soluble in water. And as we move down the group, what happened? Due to the increase in the size, it becomes easy for the water molecule to polarize that particular atom, as a result of which down the group solubility increases. Why solubility increases? Because down the group size increases. Due to the increase in the size, the tendency of the water molecule to polarize or to induce the dipole in the noble gas atom increases, and because of this, the strength of dipole-induced dipole interaction increases, as a result of which solubility increases from helium to radon. From helium to radon. Solubility increases from helium to radon, and because of this, Xe.6H2O is the most stable compound of the xenon. Means when they dissolve in water, they form hydrates, and because of the strength of dipole-induced dipole interaction increases from helium to radon, therefore this is the most stable product. This is the most stable product. So they are soluble in water due to the dipole-induced dipole interaction, and as we move down the group, the dipole-induced dipole interaction increases, as a result of which the solubility also increases. Now next is enthalpy of fusion and enthalpy of vaporization. Enthalpy of fusion and enthalpy of vaporization. Now, both the enthalpy of fusion and the enthalpy of vaporization of noble gases is low due to weak van der Waals force of attraction. Both of them have low enthalpy of fusion and low enthalpy of vaporization in the liquid state because of weak van der Waals force of attraction, and as we move down the group, the enthalpy of fusion and the enthalpy of vaporization increases due to the increase in the van der Waals force of attraction. So these are the physical properties of the noble gases. If we talk about the chemical properties of the noble gases, the noble gases are chemically unreactive due to three reasons. The noble gases are chemically unreactive due to three reasons. First, stable electronic configuration. Second, very high ionization enthalpy, very high ionization enthalpy, and third, positive electron gain enthalpy. Because of these three reasons, the noble gases are chemically unreactive. The noble gases are chemically unreactive. Up to 1962, it was assumed, it was considered that because of these reasons, these are chemically unreactive, so we didn't get any compound. But in 1962, there was a scientist, Niels Bartlett. There was a scientist, Niels Bartlett. In 1962, Niels Bartlett reacted PTF6, a powerful oxidizing agent, PTF6 with dioxygen. What Niels Bartlett did? In 1962, Niels Bartlett reacted PTF6, which is a powerful oxidizing agent, with O2, and when Bartlett react O2 with PTF6, Bartlett get an ionic solid having formula O2 positive, PTF6 negative. Clear? Now, the first ionization enthalpy of xenon. The first ionization enthalpy of xenon is 1170 kilojoule per mole. The first ionization enthalpy of xenon is 1170 kilojoule per mole. Now, Niels Bartlett observed that the first ionization enthalpy of diatomic oxygen, was 1175 kilojoule per mole. Now, if PTF6 can oxidize O2 to O2 positive, where it requires 1175 kilojoule of energy, then it can easily oxidize Xe to Xe positive. And when it reacts Xe with PTF6, then Niels Bartlett get a red colored solid of Xe positive, PTF6 negative. And from this point, we get a number of the products of xenon and few products of the krypton also. So this is the starting point from where we get the compound of the noble gases also. So the main concept was that the first ionization enthalpy. The first ionization enthalpy of xenon is nearly equal to the first ionization enthalpy of O2 molecule, and from this it clicks the Niels Bartlett mind that if PTF6 can able to oxidize O2, then it can also able to oxidize Xe, and there we get the product. So after this we get a number of products of the xenon. But before this, because of these reasons, and the other elements not able to form the product till now because of these reasons only. These reasons are correct, but this is also the real picture that yes, we are getting the compounds of the noble gases also. Now I'll tell you some interesting facts about the noble gases. Clathrates. Have you heard about this term, that is clathrates? Now, what are clathrates? The noble gases form compounds in which the noble gases form compounds with the organic or inorganic elements, and means the noble gases form a number of compounds, and in those compounds the noble gases are present in the cavities of the compounds. The noble gases are present in the cavities of the compounds. These clathrates are also known as host-guest compounds. Host-guest compounds, where the host are the organic or inorganic compounds. Organic or inorganic compounds, and the guests are the noble gases. The guests are the noble gases. So the clathrates reacts with the noble gases reacts with the number of the organic and the inorganic compounds, and they are entrapped in the cavities which are formed in the organic and the inorganic compounds, and the compound which we get, that is known as clathrates, that are known as clathrates. And if we talk about the noble gases, argon, krypton and xenon, they form clathrates because they have the exact size which we get the cavities which we get in the cavities of the organic and the inorganic compound. The size of the cavities which are present in the organic and the inorganic compound is exactly similar to the size of these noble gases. That's why these noble gases form clathrates, whereas if we talk about helium and neon will not able to form clathrate because their size is smaller than the size of the cavities which are there in the organic and the inorganic compounds. So clathrates are the compounds which are formed by the noble gases. These noble gases react with the organic and the inorganic compounds and get entrapped in the cavities of the organic and the inorganic compounds. Now next, hydrates and deuterates. Hydrates and deuterates. So hydrates are formed when noble gases are compressed with water. When noble gases are compressed with water. When noble gases are compressed with water, we get hydrates, and when noble gases are compressed with D2O, compressed with heavy water, that is D2O, then we get deuterates. So the compressed product of the noble gases and the water are hydrates, and the compressed product of the D2 and the noble gases are deuterates. And as we move down the group, we have studied that induced dipole interaction increases. Therefore, the hydrates and the deuterates of the heavy noble gases are more stable than the lighter noble gases. So these are the important compounds of the noble gases. So students, that's all for today. In this video, we have studied about the physical properties and the chemical properties of the noble gases. I'll see you in my next video with a new topic of the noble gases.